Quality Edge, Victorian Tourism Accreditation and Award Series. I like to call these things a bit of an hour of power. And this is what I've got prepared for you with my wonderful colleagues who are in the background and ready to serve and support you. We've got Matt and Miranda from the accreditation, Miranda being a real incredible leader and champion in our accreditation team, and Matt being an incredible leader and champion for our Victorian Tourism Awards program. So we'll go through around, just the current environment, the feels and where your business is right now, the scale and growth and the headwinds of where you and your organization fit relating to kind of like a bit of a Victorian tourism economy 101. We're going to look at the quality tourism framework and just to help you get a better understanding of what the quality tourism framework is, what accreditation is, and the 6 programs that fit under the Sustainable Tourism Accredited Business Program. Of course, then I'll do a little bit of a focused deep dive on sustainable tourism accreditation, what's involved, what operators gain, and a bit of myth busting, because I think certainly through my time with the team of VTIC, it's been wonderful to really bust some myths around accreditation and just the real value and benefit that all businesses and destinations in our state gain through being a quality accredited tourism business. Now, there ain't nothing like a Victorian Tourism Award and why nominating matters and why you need to consider nominating for a tourism award and who is eligible. And of course, your next steps, where do we go to from 11 o'clock on May 19? 2026. What can we do? And it's always like getting excited about this time of year because we're really coming to the end of a financial year and we're really thinking about resetting. And what do we do? What do we do that, when we've done some reflection of what we've learnt in the previous financial year, and what do we do to take that learning and improve on and have a stellar new 26, 27. I said that before, if anyone's been involved in got kids in the 6, 7, that's the new financial. It's 26, 27. We'll have to do that. Apologies for anyone. Yes, I went there. 26, 27. I did that the other day. I went, oh, that's a bit of fun. Anyhow. So VTIC, the Victoria Tourism Industry Council, for any of you that are not part of our organisation and are not members, who are we? Why we exist? We are the dedicated peak body and leading advocate for our wonderful states. Tourism, accommodation, events, and everything that encapsulates it, we'll talk a little bit more about. But I know a lot of you are coming in here as tourism businesses, and that's what we are here for, to amplify and fan the flame to make our voice bigger and ignited. The lay of the land, now I do geek out on the data and all the reports that come out and the strategy. If anyone that's been around the Visit Victoria, new 2030 strategy, Thrive have a new action plan. But this is really just a snapshot of what are our targets and what we're looking forward to in 2030. And what I like to do is take these big numbers and big strategies and really bring them home to say, well, how can I take that on and kind of pick up the coattails of this for my organization? How can I align my priorities with what we are really setting our North Star to as a collective in our state? Now, before we dive in to the practicality of what all this means in our agenda, I want you to ask this question to yourselves. How does the current environment feel for you and your business right now? Is it challenging? Are we cautiously optimistic that things are a little bit funky, but they're also, I see the light through the funk of what we're going through? Or I am so green and growing and ready to be watered and nurtured like a sunflower facing the sunlight and ready to grow even further. I want to now, please feel free. This is something you can share in the chat. I would love you to. Please do. And for all of you, I also love to take this opportunity to share in the chat where you're coming from, where you're at. Please don't be shy. This is an opportunity for us to also virtually gain some networking opportunities, or not, if you'd like to just stay in the back as you're listening in and chiming in. But I would like you to just create a bit of a barometer and a yardstick for yourself of how are you feeling right now? How's your business going right now? Is there challenge? Is there caution? Or there's real readiness for growth? Now, when we're looking at our wonderful Victoria tourism and visitor economy, as a bit of a 101, every business in this room, room, just for our if anyone's joining us from early days in quality training, every business in this room is part of it. Every person that is here with us today or listening to the recording has a great contribution to the visitor economy ecosystem. And this is what we meant earlier. It's not just, tourism. It does include our accommodation makers, our experience makers, our hospitality champions, our transport champions, our events champions, and our retail leaders, all benefiting and contributing to the visitor economy. Now, Victoria's visitor economy reached 43.7 billion, 45% above 2019 levels. So understanding where growth is coming from shapes every decision that you make. So we want to just plug ourselves into this to say, well, where is this growth coming from? And how can my business get a piece of this? How can my region get a piece of this? Now, I like to think, now if anyone's coming in from Bendigo, where I'll be visiting next week, I really love the theme of the conference is growing together. And that's where this opportunity is for all of us, that together we are more powerful. However, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, or the despina in this little room, that the world has changed, but with the changes of the world and the economy that is happening right now, that, again, what I share to a lot of businesses is a lot of it is like, out of our control. Middle East conflict, fuel costs, cost of living pressures. We saw what the budget recently came out with and how that impacts our small businesses, insurance affordability, our crisis management and risk mitigation. Now, I got so excited starting this that it's this is something that I've spent a lot of my time here at VTIC as a champion of quality tourism business capability, really helping us have our ducks in a row, have our houses in order to be able to meet the challenges as best prepared as we can. Now, the visitor expectations have also changed with the challenges currently as of 19 May 2026. So the visitor, when traveling and visiting, they are looking more and more, the research is telling us, for sustainable, meaningful experiences that they can justify their investment. They're looking for trusted operators that are verified, that do have some level of national recognized credential that can benefit them. Now, it might not be like, so I had recently, I presented to a group of very small tour operators who are actually tour guides, another great component of our tourism industry learning at the newly launched Cert 3 in tour guiding at Holmesglen. And it was interesting. One of the guides said, but we can do this anyway. Why would we need accreditation? And this is the same answer that I would pose to you when we're talking about a visitor expectation. How do we want to differentiate ourselves when everybody, now for me, my background was hot air ballooning. We were not the only ones that did ballooning. There were other operators. Now we can't even uh, distinguish ourselves in the paths that we travel because all balloon operators are guided by the wind. So when you see balloons clustered, you've got seven, sometimes eight competitive businesses in that cluster, but we all have to travel together because we are guided by the wind. However, what differentiated us was our commitment to quality. And back 20 years, this is 20 years of accreditation history, that is a path that I chose to differentiate ourselves to other experience making choices. That here, this is something that a visitor or a consumer could see that, oh, this particular operator has an edge, and that would keep coming through to us when we would seek feedback from our customers that why did you choose global ballooning over every other operator? You just looked safer. You just looked more professional. So that is something that just kept coming in out of the thread, which is something that I want you to also consider. Accessible, inclusive environments that welcome all. Big national pillar, and there's something that is big to consider, and we'll talk more about that. Quality and consistency that they can count on, and authentic experiences that are backed by some level of credibility. And I only want you to think about your consumer choices in anything that you do, whether it's you book travel or your choices in choosing your consumable product, whether it's, your electric devices or your food choices. I don't know how much now that you're looking at the 5-star, rating or the health rating when you're making choices. And this is something that we have in our industry. Sorry, I get excited when I'm saying to like, bang the table because it's like we have it ourselves in our industry. All right, where our growth is coming from. And please, if you have a little ping moment of a question or a comment, please drop it into your Q&A and we'll have a chat afterwards. That's the thing with this. It feels, I hope this is of value to you. Please, even as a little check-in, I see that the chat is not light up. Good, so far so good. Great. If you could give me how are we doing here? Okay, so our growth, where it's coming from. We already have, you hear the terminology low-hanging fruit. Our domestic markets, intrastate, stability and dispersal. This is Melburnians being inspired to rediscover our regional areas, something that I love to impart and teach is how we can commercially collaborate as destinations, as products to tell a bigger, better story because we have a great market that is a returnable market in our intrastate market. Interstate, of course, a leadership market with, leading our markets, New South Wales, Queensland, and South Australia, driven by our event and just our Melbourne vibe, right? But it's like that's the hero shot, that's the hero destination, and then it's about getting them here and giving them reasons to stay longer, travel further. And of course, business events, high yield delegates through our MCB advocates and the work that they do to attract big events. And of course then we have our business events Victoria crew, who attract regional events, something we've got a showcase that's coming next week. And then we have our international growth markets. We had ATE, if anybody's on LinkedIn and had FOMO, like it happens every year, the Australian Tourism Exchange, and of course our growth markets of China, India and Southeast Asia, UK and the US. Now, when I first started my journey, this was completely flipped. It was UK and US that, and New Zealand that were our core international markets, but how the world has changed and adapted. And if this is something that you aspire to attract more international visitors, that is also something that, taking the lead with an accreditation journey is something that is a excellent pathway for you. All right. So, in a world with so much uncertainty, in a world this uncertain with so much uncertainty, what makes a visitor choose you over the one next door or your region over the one, or of your neighboring region? So I just want you to think about that. What makes a visitor choose you over someone else? Now, if that's not a really clear question for you, I also just would say, and this is where I know our passengers and our guests chose global ballooning because it was something that I did on a quarterly basis. I would choose a select few of, clients that have already joined us, and I would pick up the phone and do a random questionnaire to ask that very question. And I would encourage you, if this is not a clear answer for you, why would a visitor choose my business, my region, my destination over someone or, another experience? Something to think about. And I'm also presenting to you is the quality tourism framework as a great thing to differentiate yourself, to be the cream, to be part of the 1% club in the Victorian visitor economy. Okay, any questions, any comments, any like VTIC upper moments that you're having, any highlights here, please feel free to highlight the chat. So the quality tourism framework suite of programs, because we speak about accreditation as singular, as a one thing, but actually this is part of a multi-program, multi-capability suite of development and growth for you and your business and the greater good of your destination. Because if we have more businesses becoming accredited, that means more opportunities and consumer benefits for our region. So this is a national quality benchmark. There are 6 programs plus a lot more that come into play. The quality tourism framework is Australia's, so it is part of a national system for tourism business accreditation for sustainability, accessibility, emissions reduction, trade distribution, and risk management, to name a few. We do have one that's also like a local tourism association program. Now that is really hot off the press. And if anybody in the room or listening in to the recording, if that's something that you find that, if that's, I guess, a position that you're coming to us from as a local tourism association, we also have a development program for you. All of the programs are designed to be achievable with the team's support at every stage of the journey. Okay, so what does this look like? This is the hero, right? How we were talking about, like, our hero product was Melbourne City, but really we use that to have everybody come out to our regions, just like the creme de la creme of accreditation is the Sustainable Tourism Accredited Business program. This is what we lead with. This is, if you're coming to the training today, already an accredited business, I want to give, I don't know if I can, I'm just doing two, a round of applause emoji. Congratulations. Keep it up. The renewals are coming up. Renew and keep your light going. Now, but it doesn't stop there. We are a constant work in progress of continual development. Someone like Rob from Pennicott Wilderness Tours, I'm meeting him for the first time like a biggest fangirl. You should see this is a business. I mean, I just encourage, just go and have a Google of Pennicott, wilderness. They have all of the accreditation programs, and they've won the national awards like something like 15 or 16 times. It's incredible, but that is someone that never rests on their laurels. There's always a way, and there's always a new way to reinvent what they do. So just if you need some hero inspiration, that is a good one for you. We're always learning, we're always growing, but this is where we start. Now, for those of you that already have accreditation, I want to encourage you, don't stop there. Now you can, in the next between now and the next financial year, enroll in our other programs, accessibility information, being able to say on your website, in your collateral, that we have accessible awareness. Now, through the accessible information program, you're able to self-assess where you're at. Now, and then we have 6 different badges for mobility, for hearing, for vision impairment, for wheelchair access. So depending on your audit, you might find yourself, you actually tick all the boxes are compliant for one of those specific badges. And if not, like say for my business, I was able to, I need to say, if I'm going to do this, hand on heart, sustainable tourism accreditation, I did it for my business first. And many of you, or some of you, or for those of you that I'm meeting for the first time, this is something that I was able to do for my training business, and hand on heart, I was able to say, yep, my business is better the minute I submitted that. So now this is the same with accessibility. I did the assessment. Now, because it's like here, I'm delivering on behalf of VTIC and I deliver training on behalf of organizations, it's out of my control, but I can have accessible awareness. In the same with risk mitigation. We have academic research now that shows businesses who have taken the time to do their accreditation came out better out of crisis and bushfire recovery than those that didn't. We have, we have evidence to back that. It's the same with the risk management assessment. So you start with your sustainable tourism accreditation, and then you can enroll and kind of build up your knowledge, your awareness, and also visible consumer assets that you can put next to your beautiful business and organization, again, to differentiate yourself from other businesses that say we've done the work. And what we're going to talk about, the double A with the awards, is that anything you do between now and the end of the financial year, this is the qualifying period of 25-26 for this year's awards. So we've still got a good 5 weeks, 6 including this week, to do some work to qualify. Now, but there is a deadline, which I'm going to share with you. But the first thing is to put your hand up and nominate for the award. And I hope then we could go back, right. What are some things that we already have access to as dedicated VTIC members that we can kind of grow and get some leverage from for our business through these other programs. But first we start with the accreditation. So the Victorian Quality Pathway, which I'll call this, is step 1 when you're looking for industry, training, guidance, and through your VTIC membership in particular, this is a pathway for you to consider. You're in the right time. This is so doable for this financial year and will be an incredible thing for you and your region. Step 1 is getting that sustainable tourism accredited business accreditation under your hat. that feather in your cap. Okay, this is the first thing. Don't stress. If you are if if you're early in the journey, if you're halfway through the journey, if this is the first time you're hearing about accreditation, never fear. The team is here. The main thing is that numero uno, you are a VTIC member, and number two is that you enroll, and I'll show you how. Then step two is, we're walking along the path. We've picked up our accreditation. Now you're prime. Baby, you are ready to nominate your business for the big stage. The amount of transformations I have seen for over a decade now, since being able to teach and champion accreditation, is, businesses that have come in as really not even understanding that they are a tourism business, to learning about tourism and the visitor economy through their accreditation journey, through to then I'm like, you're there. You've done accreditation. I feel like 80% of the work is done. You are ready. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze it. Don't overgo about, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Put your hat in the ring. You deserve it just for having the kahunas to run a tourism business or lead an organization. So the Victorian Tourism Award is what I want you to consider right here, right now. That's your, wherever you're at, that's the A, that's the third A, the action. Nominate. And of course, then we have our National Tourism Awards. That's the I think anything like just by nominating, winner. You become a finalist, like double win. You win your category, triple win. Then you go and represent our state and your category at the Australian Tourism Awards, like you are flying. But it's good to have a plan. It's good to know what your North Star. I said it to a colleague earlier. I think it was to my Miranda girl. See it, be it. We've got to see what it is first, and then we can be it. Then we can achieve it, and we have it all here in our state, in our visitor economy through our leading, state body, which is Victoria Tourism Industry Council here at VTIC. Okay. I hope you are just as excited as I am, and thank you. Oh, I see one chat. The chat is disabled, please. Oh, I'm so sorry, Meg. The chat is disabled. So keep adding into the questions. Sorry, my excitability there. We did. So Q&A, put it into the Q&A. All right. So sustainable tourism accredited business. I'm just going to give you a little tour now and a deep dive on what accreditation involves and what operators actually gain. So the myth buster is this isn't just for large organizations, and it isn't just for small mum and dad, as I would often hear operators. Regional, boutique, adventure, food, beverage businesses, events, and even non-traditional businesses, like we have Daniel from our coffee cart, a coffee cart operator that serves regional events, who became accredited and is on is definitely on a North Star journey. So we have really great champions to showcase the variety that this is valuable to a deep and varied cross-section of our visitor economy. The process is structured, it's supported, and it is absolutely achievable. So it all starts here. We can't reiterate this enough. It all starts here. And what this actually involves is, number one, we need to register. Number two, this gives you an opportunity to self-assess by working through 11 modules. So this is like, you think of any training course or any training program that is modularized. This is the same way that accreditation works. When you go and do the self-assessment, and I'll lift the hood on it and show you in a minute, but this gives you an opportunity to really establish your own gaps. I had someone yesterday say to me, I'm looking, can you help me prepare my business to, to go to the bank because I need to apply for a loan. And the first question I said was, do you have a business plan? Because the first thing, if I was a bank lender for businesses, the first thing that I'd be asking is for a business plan. Oh, do you think that's important that or that they'd ask for that? Yeah, that would be a good starting point. It's the same thing here in this self-assessment. You will see that you have to enter, do you have a business plan? Yes or no. If you don't, never fear through the process, you'll be able to establish one. So this is where you can actively kind of put together an action plan for your business that you can create a little benchmark or establish a needs analysis of like, oh, wow, I don't have a business plan. I do or I don't have a customer service strategy. Like, how are we looking at that customer pathway of how how a visitor is finding me, how a visitor is interacting with me? What happens when a visitor leaves and finishes the experience with me? What happens then? Is it all left to the stars and the moons to align for me to engage? Or do I actively say, yeah, this is something that I will now, this is something intentional that I do. I'm intentionally have a strategy of how I connect in all stages of a customer journey. For example, so this is where you'll see what you have and what needs some tender love and care from you in your business. And that's why this is so valuable. So that way you can identify improvements and build your own kind of little tailored roadmap. Now, the verification, once you've submitted your evidence, we've got incredible quality humans like Miranda that will assess that your standards are met. And if there's some little gaps that can be tweaked or need a little extra TLC, that's where it's like, these are all great. What I would love you to just have a bit more of a think about or some more detail around this section. So we are all here when we're talking about quality, tourism, business operations. This is what we all want to be able to wear this badge with, I guess, with anybody that looks at this, knowing that they've gone through a process of quality checking and quality assurance, which is really, really important. And then it's time to celebrate. You become accredited and you receive your accreditation. You are introduced to the likes of Visit Victoria and encouraged to receive a significant discount through your Australian Data Tourism Warehouse, ATDW, to create a listing. And that is a real first showcase of your product to our state marketing body and national marketing body. Because if you want your business featured on any destination, not just Visit Victoria, but also your region, also nationally on australia.com, it all is housed and that content is delivered through the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse. Now, once you get to that stage of becoming accredited, we make a beautiful introduction to you and the team at Visit Victoria, and you receive a 60% discount on that yearly listing. So nothing that I've shared with you is not something that I haven't done and invested in my time and financial investment as an operator myself, and that I don't do now in my own training operation. And here, this is what I mean in terms of what it actually involves and what it actually looks like. When you have achieved your accreditation, you are green and growing. You see green, lit with green everywhere. Tick, 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 tick. You've done it, right? And you see right there from your details, your insurance, kind of a big deal in tourism operation, any business operation, making sure that your insurances are all up to date, your permits are all up to date. And that's where you see, that's the meaty, chunky bit of your accreditation between modules 4 and module 9. And that's where we need those plans and the thought leadership of your business to be integrated into there. And like I said, if you don't have the plans, you've got choice. We've got templates to give you. We have, or you could say, no, I just want to kind of freestyle. Give me the option to just answer custom fields. Beautiful. You can answer the custom fields that the portal will give you, and that makes up your business plan. But you see there at 10 is where you have the opportunity to enter the ATDW listing you currently have, or you could say, you don't have one. This is where we make it seamless and easy for you to have that opportunity. And the starting point to register, if you're a VTIC member, this is included in your membership. If you from a quality tourism business membership and above, you've already got it. Like let's make this happen. If you are not a member, this is become a member first, and then you can come in and enroll into these programs. And this is what this looks like. Whether you're enrolling into your sustainable tourism accreditation, or you are already accredited and you want to enroll into into other programs that I showcase, whether it's accessible tourism emissions or the risk management or any of them, then you want to be able to or enroll and nominate. You see enroll, or let's nominate for an award. You see that's next to it. Okay, so what you gain: cred, influence, leadership, creme. The cream rises to the top. That's the level. You elevate your business and your brand. You differentiate yourself. You give yourself a unique, not only a unique selling proposition consumer wise, you give yourself a unique access to networking and a group of businesses in the state that are aligned in quality values in operation. And of course, like that opportunity, you come together with like-minded quality businesses, and you can also have the opportunity for promotional reach. We've had opportunities recently, if it comes through, whether it's through funding opportunities or showcasing our members. Just go through the YouTube, the VTIC socials, and you'll see even our part in how we ignite and amplified our quality tourism businesses. And we can't reiterate more. This isn't just for big operators or for small operators. This is something that we have seen every different, I guess, category and community and different types of businesses that really benefited from the process. Questions about accreditation, pop them in the Q&A, please. That will be wonderful. As we move on to our final chapter, which is the Victorian Tourism Awards. Why not only it's worth it, why you're worth it, and how the process really helped build your business story. So, open to quality tourism accredited businesses. The nomination process is valuable well beyond the award ceremony. It documents your differentiation in a compelling format. In all of my years, and this is well before any of our before technology hit. I was of that era. It was certainly different types of different ways that you would go for a tourism award. I look at how the process is now, and it's so much easier and more seamless than what it was yesteryear. And just like I said, accreditation made my business better. Boy, did an award submission bring our team together. And it was a really good way to do that reflection on the year that was, which I think is really, really important. Now, thank you. Thank you for some questions in the room. I will, amazing to see questions. I will, look, we're nearly finished and I'll leave the end for a chat, if that's all right. Let's go through. I'll finish up here and then we'll go through to see the Q&A. But thank you. Keep them coming. We want more. So why nominating is worth it? I really like this thought process that the process is the prize. Going through preparing for nomination forces you to document what you have done in the last 12 months. And it almost forces you to innovate and think about what's coming forward. So it really gives you that, helps you really encapsulate your impact and your differentiation. I found it personally, it was the greatest team building process, and it gave us all so much pride, particularly as an operation that had office staff, ground crew staff. We had our pilots and our aviation team and our ops team. So it was really an all hands in the middle project through the awards that brought us all together. And going to the ceremony was also really fantastic. So the materials that you'll use, the materials that you gather for the award process, you can also use again. Media coverage, trade credibility within your peers. I mean, this is no event to sneeze at. It's huge. So I want you to be in that room. And if it's something that you're not sure about, I encourage you to buy yourself a ticket and just see what it's about if you haven't actually been in a room in a room before. And of course, pathway to national stage representing Team Victoria. And this year, the team made up some Team Victoria flags, and it was all very much, it was like a sporting event, which is kind of is in a way if you think about it. So the process is the prize, the award is absolutely the bonus. And I've got Matt, who is he's our leading man and champion of the tourism, everything to do with tourism awards and top tourism awards. I've got him here at the ready. So if there's any award specific questions, please also put them in the Q&A, and I can wave him over to come and have a chat to us. Wow, 32 categories. I don't think any of you that are joined us today cannot find where you could possibly fit into this ecosystem, because you see from major tourist attraction all the way to our late beautiful Resto Soul, Dr. Joanne Pike's Young Achiever Award. So we've got our group business categories, then we have some individual categories as well. With all of the categories, and the urgency on awards is because there are prominent dates that are right here, right now, coming, that are still open, but will close soon, next week, in fact. So on 1st of April, nominations are now open. They do close, so nominate your business. Even if you're not sure for now, and Matt can confer and clear this up, even if you're not sure, just get the nomination in and work back. Say yes and then work out how. And then we have some key dates and the time that you have available to you to get this done. So even if you are starting your journey from getting your accreditation, we've got time and space to achieve both your Sustainable Tourism Accreditation and your Tourism Award. So look at these dates, digest, absorb, screenshot. They're all available on the VTIC website. They're very public, but please keep a note of them. And I just think this is a great time. We've come together to have this Quality Edge chat for you to put your best foot forward and put your hat in the ring. Okay, so as we start to close and then go through into our Q&A, I want you to think about, compared to when we started our hour of power, here together today, this morning on 19th of May, what's the one thing you now see differently about your business and the visitor economy? Do you see a clear opportunity? Do you see an urgency to kind of, I hope you're getting an urgency and getting a bit excited, and you're seeing you actually have a clear way forward of the next step for you and your team and your business. Now, share in the Q&A where you're at. I would love to hear, or we'll have a chat soon. So the A, we've talked about accreditation, we've talked about awards. Now it's all about action. Register for your accreditation if you haven't, and if you have, get all the badges, get as many as you can, and under your, next to your business name. Nominate for the awards 27th of May, which is next Wednesday. So in 8 days' time, nominations will close. So submit your Victoria Tourism Award nomination. It is open to quality tourism businesses. So we've got to get that sustainable tourism accreditation happening. If you are not sure, if you need more information, we have, I've got all the info there too. Everything is on our website, or reach out to our team at accreditation at vtic.com.au, or for awards, programs at vtic.com.au. All right, so ready to start. Some direct links of where you can go. Please, if you haven't already connected with us, connect to our, follow along on our Instagram and our LinkedIn. You're subscribed. I think you wouldn't be here if you weren't subscribed to our e-coms, but if you're not, please do. And let us be your industry partner through all of this process as the peak body for advocacy, accreditation support, networking and promotional reach, and of course Team Victoria partner to link you into all of our other state and regional bodies. Okay, so enroll. Speak with other accredited members if you want some referrals, or if you want to go, have a look around your region. Who else is accredited in my patch that I can speak to, and leverage your accreditation and nominate for the award. All right. So I'm so keen to get to the questions here, and I want to say thank you. I will stop share, and then Meg will be able to put some Q&A if I can go. Where can I see my Q&A? All right. So Meg, when I am my presentation.
I'm going to just read you the questions.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, from Skipper Pete. I am a certified with Ecotourism Australia, licensed tour operator and qualified in tourism. How is sustainable quality tourism accreditation fit with these other training, certification, accreditation programs?
Brilliant question, and brilliantly put together. Like, there are other, like the ecotourism accreditation is very much led with that environmental conscious at the forefront. What you would see with the accreditation for the sustainable tourism accreditation, the key differentiator is that sustainability is holistic for a sustainable quality tourism business. With the environmental component, which is you have Skipper Pete, that section is ticked and done for you. Like, that's a big one that will go towards your sustainable quality tourism accreditation, and for an award that you have also these accreditations and these certifications next to your name. So if you could think about the differentiation, they both are national with the Ecotourism Australia, and they've got a conference that's coming up, and that is very sustainable and environmentally led, which is something that all of our businesses another where we talked accessibility is a big pillar, sustainability and climate. You see with Tourism Australia, climate change, green is the new gold. This is something that leads us all. I think, and again, it's someone like a leading business like yourself, Skipper Pete, having this accreditation, this feather also in your cap, it plugs you into another ecosystem of the quality tourism framework, which is the National Tourism Accreditation that links to a quality tourism solid business, and then the pathway to a tourism award would be. So that environmental certification that you have pretty much covered a whole section within your quality tourism framework. I hope that answers your question, and please give me any follow-up if that's the case. If there's
Okay, so
anything yeah.
the next question, Despy, and this is from, they haven't put their name in, but it's, how would I get accredited as mine is the only known cultural immersive art tourism business of its kind? And then there's the second question they've put in a little bit later, which is how many Indigenous tourism businesses offering immersive cultural art and craft activities combined with cultural education and sightseeing experiences compete in state and national award processes?
Look, we need you, we encourage you, and you are so supported. We need more Indigenous First Nations quality tourism businesses. We need more operators. So the fact that you are so unique, I mean, someone that comes like you see, Kuri Heritage Trust, but Budgebim, like they have been real leaders in the Indigenous category, but we need more. Last year in the awards, we actually didn't have, I don't think, and Matt could correct me if I'm wrong. I could bring Matt into here. This is the point where I say we're just talking, Matt, around the Indigenous category. And I just want to stand corrected. Matt, everybody, the champion and the leader that I was talking about. We're just talking about the Indigenous category. We have an Indigenous culturally led operator, and so please, we need more. Last year am I correct to say that we didn't have any nominations in that category?
It's correct. So we really struggle from a product perspective in Victoria to attract First Nations businesses or people with First Nation product to the program. Obviously, other states and territories don't struggle with this at all, particularly with WA and Northern Territory. And unfortunately, it happens year on year. We get a couple of people that are interested in the category Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander tourism experiences, but unfortunately, through pressures of their own, time restrictions, they don't complete their submission. So last year we didn't have anyone in that category. So it's always a big focus of us to try and get people into that section of the program. And so we would be very interested if anyone, First Nations, Aboriginal tourism experiences of any kind, to be entering into that category for sure.
Wonderful, thank you. So we encourage you and reach out if there's anything that we could do to just start that process. And thank you for being here.
Yes, so the next question, Despy, and this is from Anonymous also. Can we find out how many and which businesses are accredited in our area?
You can let us know. Like we can absolutely, we don't have that data readily available at our fingertips. We have to do an update, but all up in the state, we have over 500 accredited operators. But if you're interested specifically for your region, absolutely, we can let you know, especially if you're a VTIC member. If you're not a member, we'd have to talk, but this is what part of being a VTIC member is, that you have access to data and information and networks and connection. So I think for Anonymous, reach out and we can have a chat.
And you can reach out by just emailing info@vtic.com.au. So the next question, Despy, is from John O'Donnell. What demonstration or evidence in the process of environmental, social and cultural responsibility is required in the Sustainable Tourism Accreditation?
Oh, good question. Look, it's really just looking at what level of awareness and what is it that you're doing currently in terms of your impact. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have the world solved. There's no pass or fail. It's really a honest assessment of where you're at now and where we want to be tomorrow. So even I've had so many operators say, but we actually don't, we're doing our best. We're doing like, well, what does your recycling look like? That's something. So there's so much you're already doing that you don't actually give yourself credit for. So when you just unpack the simplicity through the questions of looking at things like that, now what we don't want to see is NA, we get that a lot too. That's not applicable. It is applicable to everybody. And what I encourage with going through that section, and I'm happy to share with you, again, reach out to info or accreditation. We're happy to give you a look at what that actual section looks like and share with you a template. But I just say it actually don't overcomplicate it. Just be honest with where you're at and what you currently do and where you're aspiring to go to. So something like the Tourism Emissions Reductions Commitment, that's what it's called, TERC. We love that. That's one program after you become accredited. Again, that's a 5-step of like, let's put all of our bills in, and it gives you a step, a real good step-by-step approach. Before the initial accreditation and that environmental, social, and cultural that is in the one kind of section, it's really just asking, what do you currently do with your carbon emission efforts?
And it's not a pass or a fail. I mean, that's the good thing about it, is that the team here at VTech will help you get your accreditation across the line. So it's not something that we're not going to let you get approved. Like, we will get you across the line when it comes to accreditation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something that, yeah, we've helped. That's a section that can be overwhelming at first sight, but it doesn't. Like when you just unpack the simplicity of it, that's the best thing to note, that there's no pass or fail. And if there is a gap to fill, we'll help you through it.
Okay, so Despi, our last question, again from Anonymous.
Love it.
Can you share any details on how this accreditation links to or considers other accreditation schemes, either here or internationally, i.e. ecotourism, and ATIA?
ATIA, I'm not familiar with, but I think good on you. And again, it becomes an alignment with where your values and where your business sits. The eco-tour, a bit like with Skipper P earlier, if you have your ecotourism accreditation, and much to the question earlier, that whole section is really taken care of and it holds weight and credibility to that area and commitment that we are also committed to our environmental, awareness and skin in the game of what we're doing in our business. With this, we have to really consider, like for all the reasons that we've just talked about, why you will consider the quality tourism framework and coming on board with the industries and the state's peak tourism body, because these are key programs that are nationally ready and through a national framework and are governed and produced through a national body, which is the Australian Tourism Industry Council, and delivered through all of the states through our respective state tourism industry councils. So if you are looking for a new pathway, a new exposure, a new lane for your business, this is not saying this or that. It's saying it's an and. I have this and this as a commitment to my growth and my development. And also your investment. All of this is an investment in money and your time, but it opens doors and windows and connections and relationships. I think they're the hidden benefits in all of this.
I think continuous learning. as well.
Continuous learning.
Continuous learning. It doesn't just end at your sustainable tourism accreditation, where other accreditations might end at that point.
Absolutely.
When you do your accreditation with us, you're just opening the door really to a whole bunch of other opportunities for you and your business. So that'd be my take on
Absolutely.
it.
Oh, absolutely. It's a constant work in progress. We cannot, if anything that we've learned in any business, whether you are gainfully employed or you're running your own business, we cannot sit on our laurels and be complacent. And that's what this is exactly is. It's continuous learning, green and growing, and keeping ourselves accountable to and readiness for changes that happen. We know that things can disrupt us. But what are our controllables? And what are the non-controllables? All the climate, what's happening in the world, non-controllables. But this is something we can control, our commitment to how we invest in ourselves.
Yep.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, that went quick, didn't it? Our hour of power has, we're now a couple of minutes over. Meg, are you happy? Do we need to go through just some upcoming events that we have on the VT calendar? Or any questions?
Sorry, I'm just typing a reply. There we go.
Brilliant. So the recording will be made available, and thank you to those who joined us live, and thank you to anybody that might be watching or listening to the recording. Please feel free to reach out to events@vtic.com.au or info@vtic.com. Programs, accreditation, we're here. And some upcoming events to put into your calendars. June 11, Experience Melbourne Summit. In August, we've got the Victorian Regional Conference, a good winter warmer to come together and hug it out and stay together and, finish our submissions, because that would be around submission time.
Correct.
Yeah. And in November is the big one. Like I said, this is no tiny little event. That's where this guy, you don't want to be near him around that time. He is busy, and so is Meg. So November 26th, that's the one. That's the North Star that I'd love to see many of you that joined us here there. All right, without further ado, if that's a wrap, again, thank you for your time and your attention. The team is here to support you always. And like always, we're a not-for-profit membership organisation. We just couldn't do it without all of our supporting partners. Thank you. And to all the members that joined us today, thank you for your continued support. And if you're not a member, reach out. I hope you've had many reasons of why you should join the team and be better together as Team Victoria. And we need as many as we can to achieve that. All right. Thank you, Meg, as well as always, and have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.